Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Josina Morita. I am Cook County Commissioner of the 13th District, and welcome to Cook County's first Language Access Month. I want to start by recognizing our elected officials here. We have Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart, Cook County Border Review Commissioner George Cardenas, Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi, Cook County Clerk of the Circuit Court Mariana Spiropoulos, Cook County Commissioner Alma Anaya, Director of our Veterans Assistance Commission Liz Soto, Deputy Director Grant Jacobson, Cook County Commissioner Maggie Trevor, and Executive Director of the South Asian Policy and Research Institute Shobana Verma, and of course Cook County President Tony Preckwinkle. So here in Cook County, we believe that language access is a human right. Language access is essential. In many ways, there is nothing more basic than the right to communicate, to be understood, to be represented, recognized, and respected. Language access is not just about translation and interpretation, or compliance and coordination, or even cultural competency. It is about dignity and respect. It is about equity and inclusion. We cannot have full equity without full participation and full inclusion here in Cook County. While immigrants have come to this country and to this county from its founding, government has not always welcomed them, and even when we have done so largely in English. Today, Chicago is a sanctuary city, Cook County is a welcoming county, and in Skokie, where I live, you see Skokie welcomes everyone signs everywhere. But being welcoming cannot just mean that we don't discriminate and we do not deport. 1/3 of Cook County residents speak a language other than English at home. As Cook County Commissioner of the 13th District, I'm proud to represent the most linguistically, ethnically, and religiously diverse district here in Cook County, with over 100 languages spoken just in my district. People often think of Spanish, Polish, and Chinese, but there are nearly 2 million people here in Cook County speaking languages from Arabic and Yoruba, Korean and Hindi, Tagalog, Urdu, Pashto, Haitian Creole, and so many more. They are our neighbors. Cook County is their home, and we are so proud of that. I'm not an immigrant. I am actually 5th generation Japanese American and 6th generation Chinese American, but still language access is personal to me. I'll tell 2 quick stories, one from my Chinese side, one from my Japanese side. The first starts at the arrival of our family to this country. When my 14-year-old great-great-great-grandfather arrived at Ellis Island, and yes, we came so early that there was no Angel Island yet. We still don't know how that boat got here. In China, many other countries, you give your family name first, and your given name second. So his name at immigration, he gave his name Feng Wing. Feng is his family name, Wing was his first name. But as immigration took it, not knowing this, they wrote Feng as his first name and Wing as his last name. And so now, 6 generations later, our family still walks around with the last name Feng, which is like walking around with the last name Bob. And there are tens of thousands of families like mine that 6 generations later carry this last name as their first name, or their first name as their last name. My second story takes place here in Chicago when my great-grandmother, Tamano, moved to the north side out of the internment camps. She spoke no English, and organizations like the Japanese American Service Committee provided resettlement assistance in Japanese, and to give back, she wanted to start a free food program for families in need. To do this, she had to pass the City of Chicago food handling test that was provided only in English. The story is that she and her children stayed up every night for months helping her study. She memorized the entire test in English, and she passed. Mine, in some ways, are simpler stories, but we know that they get worse. At Cook County, we run the court and jail system and the health and hospital system. Think of what the lack of language access, not being able to understand or communicate, can look like in those settings. Denied or delayed due process, HIPAA violations, and even life and death. What is the opportunity cost of not having language access? How many people don't start programs to help the community because the test is only in English? How many people don't start businesses, don't help their neighbor, don't participate in our society, not just because they don't speak English, but because they don't feel welcome? Language access provides a path to a more inclusive and equitable Cook County. Language access is not just a challenge to overcome, but an opportunity to build a stronger, more inclusive, and prosperous Cook County where everyone is welcome and everyone can contribute and thrive. Last month, an executive order was issued declaring English the national language and rolling back language access requirements across the country. But here in Cook County, under the leadership of President Tony Preckwinkle, we are prioritizing, investing in, and expanding our work to ensure that every resident can access government in their language. Cook County is advancing language justice. In just the last 5 years, Cook County expanded the number of languages on the ballot, led by Commissioner Britton and Morrison. We passed our first comprehensive language access policy. We've expanded translation and interpretation services from the President's office to commissioners' offices. Last month, we added language to our Cook County Human Rights Ordinance because denial of language access is often a silent form of discrimination. If you can't communicate, then you can't complain. This month, we declared Cook County's first Language Access Month, and today, in partnership with Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle and Sheriff Tom Dart, we are launching Cook County's first I Speak cards. So these beautiful colored cards are available in 34 languages here at the Sheriff's Kiosk here in the Cook County building. On the front of the card, in their language, in 34 different languages, it welcomes them to the county building and provides information on where to find different offices and services here in the Cook County building. It instructs them to carry this card with them through the building, hand it to the employee at the service desk. Then on the other side, in English, it helps tell the employee what language the person speaks and gives them information on how to get either a translation device or an interpreter on the line. These cards do a number of things. They publicly demonstrate our commitment to language access. They help constituents feel welcome here at the county building. They help ELL constituents navigate the county building and the Cook County services in their respective languages. It helps employees identify what language the constituent speaks and helps the employee connect to the appropriate interpretation service to help serve that person on the spot. It helps remove a number of different barriers to people getting services here in the Cook County building. So I want to thank everyone who's been part of this multi-year process of getting these cards together. I first want to thank President Preckwinkle and Sheriff Dart for saying yes when we brought this idea to you. Oftentimes government is known to finding their way to no. Here they found their way to yes, and we very much appreciate it. I want to thank my team who spent hours and hours and hours doing this work. Jamila McMillan, Mikhail Schoenberg, Jared Davis, all of our community partners who reviewed these translations to make sure that they were accurate and relevant. All of the separately electeds who have prepared their offices to now receive people in different languages, and to those across Cook County who are continuing to move language access forward. So thank you all so much for your support and your help, and with that, I will introduce Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle.
Ron and Caden. All right, good morning, everybody. I want to thank Commissioner Morita for her leadership on this issue and for hosting us here today. I also want to thank her for acknowledging all the elected officials and community leaders who are here with us as well. And I'd like to thank Bron and Caden, who are our sign language interpreters. Thank you all for being here and for your dedication to making Cook County more equitable, inclusive, and accessible. Here in Cook County, we're committed to meeting people where they are. That means recognizing that language is a barrier, but it doesn't have to be. In 2021, we adopted our first countywide language access policy. That policy was built on a simple belief that every resident should be able to get information and the services they need in the language they speak. And now, with the federal government stepping back from its obligations on language access, our work here becomes even more urgent. As Commissioner Morita relayed, we now officially have April as Language Access Month here in Cook County, and launching our I Speak cards and strengthening our human rights ordinance are all part of a broader commitment, a commitment to fostering dignity, safety, and trust for everyone in Cook County. For too long, government operated under the assumption that English was enough. That legacy of exclusion has left too many people outside of systems that are supposed to benefit everyone. Cook County is actively working to reverse that, not with slogans, but with policy, with resources, and with real tools that make a difference. I Speak cards are a model for others to follow. They're simple, clear, and effective. They help our frontline staff serve people better. And they help ensure that no one is turned away, ignored, or left confused when they seek help from government. Language access is a human right. We're proud to lead on this issue and proud to keep building a Cook County that sees, hears, and respects every resident. Thank you. Do you want me to introduce the next person? And now I'd like to bring to the podium Tom Dart, who's a partner in this effort.
Thank you so much, Sean. I'll just be very brief. I cannot thank Commissioner Morita enough for all she did. She was thanking us, but it was more just staying out of her way. I mean, she did most all the heavy lifting. And President Preckwinkle, thank you as well. This is a very, very real issue, so this is not just a theoretical one. There is not a day that goes by in our office where we are not struggling to find interpreters, to find people to help us with language barriers. Yes, does it occur at the jail? Yes, it does. But out in the street with our police department, I cannot tell you the number of times when we go to scenes of crimes where there's a language issue. I cannot tell you how many times it is we go to houses where there's a mental health crisis going on. And think about that for a second. When you have a language barrier going on during that critical stage, not only can you get the services there, but lots of bad things can happen. And then just think of the average situation there where you have people who are looking for assistance because they've been victims of crimes, they have loved ones involved. There's so many scenarios virtually every day where we're having to call in another officer who may have that skill or to bring in interpreters. So what this is going to do is going to so immensely help people throughout this county. I can't emphasize enough to you, this is not some theoretical thing that sounds nice. No, this is very, very practical, pragmatic, and it's going to be so helpful for the people in this county who rely on us, and as President Preckwinkle mentioned, I can rely on us even more in the days, weeks, and years to come. So I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done. It's going to be such a wild help for us, and anything we can do going forward, we're on board. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon.
Good morning. Good morning. Many thanks to Commissioner Morita. She and I work closely together as colleagues on the Cook County Board. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that she is a dedicated public servant and a tireless advocate for equity and inclusion. I also want to commend President Preckwinkle, Sheriff Dart, and Commissioner Morita for working together to introduce I Speak language services here at the county building. This is a powerful action from powerful leadership, particularly when you consider that Cook County is one of the most culturally diverse counties in the nation. We understand that the residents we serve come from diverse backgrounds and often communicate in languages other than English. As the Cook County Clerk, I've made the principles of diversity, equity, inclusion a top priority in my office. And we are working right now to integrate these principles into our office policies and into the delivery of services to our customers. Whether they're casting a ballot, accessing birth or death records, or recording a property deed, every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, and that starts with being understood. That is why the clerk's office is working to meet people where they are, starting with the language they speak. One of the strongest examples is our commitment to multilingual elections. Due in large part to the leadership and advocacy of our late great clerk, Karen Yarbrough, we offer voters ballots in 12 languages in our suburban elections. This means that here in Cook County, we offer one of the most comprehensive ballot access systems in the nation. But we are not stopping there. In fact, building on Commissioner Morita's guidance, the clerk's office is rolling out new technology by introducing what are called pocket talk devices in our major customer-facing departments. These are two-way devices that use the best translation engines around the globe to provide accurate translations in more than 90 languages. The purpose is to assist our staff in having clearer conversations with our customers in order to provide quality service to everyone who walks through our doors. And this is just not a goal. It's about making language access a reality, right here and right now, in the headquarters of Cook County government. It's a privilege to partner with Commissioner Morita on this work, and it's a privilege to serve in a county government that understands how important it is for every resident to be heard, understood, and respected. Thank you again for your leadership, Commissioner, and thank you all for being here today. And next, I would like to introduce my former colleague, Cook County Commissioner Alma Anaya.
Buenos dias. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Alma Anaya. I'm Cook County Commissioner of the 7th District. I represent communities like Pilsen, Little Village, McKinley Park, Back of the Yards, and many other communities. My district is majority immigrant. 70% of my constituents that I represent speak Spanish. And it is with great pride that I stand here along Commissioner Morita and the other elected officials behind us to reaffirm our commitment to access. One of the things I think when you grow up an immigrant or when you grow up as children of immigrants, one of the first things that you learn is how to be an interpreter. And that was definitely the case with me, of learning of how to navigate very complex systems, whether it's through the education system or whether it's through government. And it's extremely important, as the second largest county in the country, to recommit ourselves, because here in Cook County, we celebrate the diversity. And we celebrate and acknowledge it and understand that we have a responsibility to ensure that all of the vital functions that Cook County has, whether it is our public safety side, or whether it's our public health side, whether it's just property taxes, that we do everything in our power to ensure that the individuals are not running around trying to figure out how to ask a question or how to go to the right office or to understand what a paper really means, or in worst cases, not doing something about it and finding out that their property taxes have been sold, or that their loved one is not able to access the medical care because they weren't able to communicate it. So we take great pride in trying to close that gap as much as possible, and I think this is a beautiful step in order to do that, because we are recommitting ourselves and we're being very visible about it. We're showing the cards, and we're really, really making sure that people understand that they have a way to navigate it. I can't tell you how many times we have seen constituents at our offices, and I pride myself to having 100% bilingual staff, but how many times we've had even staff having to come downtown and help individuals. And this is going to be so much better because it gives a person that extra confidence to ask that extra question or get to the right person to be able to get those and access that information. And this is things that we've been talking about for a while, and I'm so appreciative of Commissioner Morita making sure that we get there. Again, this is the first step. We ensured that we can grow this even further at some point. So thank you, Commissioner Morita. Hola, buenos días. Me llamo Alma Naya, soy comisionada del 7º Distrito del Condado de Cook. Yo represento a los vecindarios del suroeste de Chicago, como la comunidad de La Villita, Pilsen, barrio de las Empacadoras, Brighton Park y muchos más de esos vecindarios que orgullosamente son latinos, orgullosamente son inmigrantes. Y hoy estamos celebrando esta iniciativa donde vamos a poder dar un paso a las personas que puedan a tener acceso a cosas en su lenguaje. Hoy esta iniciativa enseña que vamos a tener tarjetas de 32 lenguajes en los diferentes lugares del condado, donde las personas pueden venir a enseñar este papelito y tener esa confianza de que esa persona que se las está entregando en cualquier departamento del condado, que va a poder usted recibir el servicio necesario en su lenguaje y poder tener las respuestas a sus preguntas y tener ese acceso a la información muy necesaria que estamos aquí proveyendo en el condado de Cook. Agradezco a la comisionada Morita por tener esta iniciativa y por ayudar a que todas las personas que están aquí, los diferentes departamentos y oficinas del condado, tengan esta iniciativa también parte de su oficina. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce the Executive Director of the South Asian American Policy and Research Institute, Josina Morita.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Josina Morita, and I'm a Chicago Cook County resident, having lived here for almost 2 decades and worked closely with the South Asian American community. I appreciate the recognition of April as Language Access Month and the launch of the I Speak cards. Thank you to Commissioner Morita. Thank you to the Cook County President Tony Preckwinkle and all of our elected officials here. As the Executive Director of South Asian American Policy and Research Institute, SAPRI, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization which focuses on improving the lives of South Asian Americans through research-driven, equitable, and socially responsible public policy, I would like to share that the South Asian American population, which is defined as people of Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankan, Nepalese, Bhutanese, and Maldivian descent, has grown by over 39% since 2010 and 119% since 2000. So according to the 2020 census, there are over 300,000 South Asian Americans in Illinois, now the largest and fastest growing ethnic subgroup amongst Asian Americans, accounting for 2.6% of Illinois' total population. Why is today important? Why is this month important? Why is this initiative important? We've all heard that our communities are more diverse than we would ever imagine. Cook County alone is home to 156,000 South Asian Americans, a highly heterogeneous demographic. Data on immigration, education, income, gender, business ownership, and other important factors reflect a very diverse community that defies the model minority myth and is by no means monolithic. Limited English proficiency, in particular, is a growing concern for South Asian Americans, and it serves as a barrier to civic engagement and access to hospitals, schools, courts, and social services. The South Asian American population is diverse, with variations in immigration status, income, education, gender, and business ownership that challenge the model minority stereotype. The limited English proficient population also faces increasing barriers for their community, which affects their civic engagement and access to initial services that we've already discussed. It's not just a matter of communication, but also cultural identity and integration. The recent Social Determinants of Health survey conducted by SAPRI revealed significant language preferences among South Asian American community, with a growing proportion of individuals preferring languages other than English. In 2022, 70% of the respondents preferred a language other than English for communication, while in 2023, 44% of the respondents indicated a preference for their heritage language. These findings highlight the importance of language equity in creating inclusive systems. When limited English proficient individuals can access services in their preferred language, they are not only better equipped to navigate crucial systems, but also feel seen, heard, and supported, fostering a sense of belonging and trust. This ultimately leads to a more equitable outcome across various sectors. At SAPRI, we've long championed language access as a civil rights issue. From our advocacy and language assistance at the polls to our work educating voters on their rights, we believe that democracy and public services must be accessible to all, regardless of language or immigration status. We deeply value the support of our Cook County leaders who continue to prioritize these efforts beyond just voting, extending to all essential services. As the landscape of civic participation and public trust evolves, language equity remains a powerful tool to combat exclusion, misinformation, and systemic barriers. We are committed to continuing this work through multilingual outreach, education, and coalition building, ensuring every community member has the opportunity to engage fully and safely in public life while feeling truly supported and valued. Thank you.
It's okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mariana Spiropoulos. I am the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and I am here to support the Language Access Initiative that Commissioner Morita has led. I'm proud to be here with the other elected officials who are supporting this effort, and as we highlight our shared commitment to equity and inclusion in Cook County. We live in one of the most linguistically diverse counties in the country. More than 100 languages are spoken here, and 1 in 3 residents speaks a language other than English at home. And as a daughter of immigrants, I know firsthand the experience and the frustration that can go with not having access to the language that you grew up with. But that's not just a data point. It reflects the rich diversity of our communities and the responsibility we have to serve every resident fairly. Today's launch of the I Speak cards is an important step toward that goal. These cards, available in 34 languages, are a simple but powerful tool. They help residents find their way through the county building, communicate with staff, and connect to language interpretation services. On one side, the card welcomes the resident in their own language, which could be so welcoming just in itself, and on the other side, it provides instructions in English to help staff connect to a translator or interpreter. And with this tool, we're making it easier for every person to access services with dignity and confidence. And navigating the court system in your language can be a huge step in gaining that access to justice. This project represents more than just improved communication. It shows our communities our commitment to making government more welcoming, more responsive, and more inclusive. And it would not be possible without the collaboration of many of you here today. Thank you to President Preckwinkle, Sheriff Dart, Commissioner Morita, my former colleague at the Water Reclamation District. I want to thank you for your leadership and all of your hard work. Language access is not just a service, it's a value. These cards are a reflection of that value, and I look forward to seeing them used throughout the building. Let's continue working together to make Cook County a place where every resident feels seen, heard, and respected. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Fritz Kagi. I'm the Cook County Assessor, and I'm really happy to be part of the Language Access Month event that we're having here today. I want to commend President Preckwinkle and especially Commissioner Morita on their efforts to make Cook County more accessible to all. This is personal for both me and my wife. My wife is a high school foreign language teacher teaching students in Hermosa. I, in my own career in the private sector, really learned how foreign languages break down barriers. We both could not have had our own careers be possible without speaking foreign languages, and we know how just some effort to engage in foreign languages allows barriers to access to be broken down. And at a time when our federal government seeks to limit our freedoms, I'm proud to be part of a county government that's expanding openness. At the assessor's office, I've made the office easier than ever to access for non-English speakers. For the first time in the history of our office, we now offer material including exemption forms and other applications in English, Spanish, Polish, simplified Chinese, and Arabic, and that's just the start. The forms used by homeowners to apply for property tax savings are offered in these languages, and our reassessment notices are mailed to every single property owner in Cook County. They're accessible in these languages. Last year, my team hosted 217 outreach events for homeowners, a record number for our office, and 62 of them were conducted in Spanish. As we prepare for the second installment of the tax bill season, we'll be utilizing Pocket Talk devices, which will provide simultaneous translations between our staff and constituents. And in our next budget year, we'll add language line services to assist with callers. Language access should be a priority for all levels of government. I look forward to continuing to make it a priority for our office and using resources like these. So I thank you, Commissioner Morita, again, for your efforts. Thank you. Now I'd like to invite to the podium Cook County Board of Review Commissioner George Cardenas.
Thank you, Mr. Assessor. And I want to thank, obviously, Commissioner Morita, President Preckwinkle, Sheriff Dart, and all the other folks behind me. You got a wonderful, powerful group that's been an advocate for the people that we serve in Cook County. This is an important, actionable day here in the county building. Coming from a bilingual household, it's important that we implement new processes and new ideas of how to communicate. Amazon, I think we all use Amazon, and it's also accessible because you can just click on any language and you just go to it. It tells you all the things you want to find. And so coming to government with that idea is just phenomenal. That just like when you shop to the outside world, you should be able to shop for services, and we should be able to provide them here in Cook County and also in the city. At the Board of Review, we offer our services online with over 100 languages in mind. And on top of that, just like Assessor Fritz Kagi, our outreach is just phenomenal. 100 property assessment appeal workshops in multiple languages, 50 of them in Spanish. We've invested in translation services and devices as part of expanding language access. That was in large part to Commissioner Morita and her ideas that we need to move in that direction, and we want to be part of that. The Board of Review is an appellate, quasi-appellate agency, which means that people get to appeal their property taxes directly to us, and it's important for us to be accessible to them so that we can represent them in the proper way. Obviously, I want to thank my team for the implementation of the ideas and the devices and also the outreaches. Phenomenal work that is always a follow-up, always continuing. But we have a lot of work to do on not just implementing, but then furthering our services and our access to the people that we represent. And so today is really simply about that. Please stop by at 6th floor. As you go towards your left, we have people in the counter is there to serve you. The devices will be there in case you cannot communicate directly with whoever's in that counter. And I think it's just going to be wonderful for us to be able to understand one another in such an important way. So I want to thank, obviously, again, everybody for being part of this. It is so important for us to be able to communicate to the outside world in the best way to serve them. It is a humbling experience. I come from a Mexican-American background. My mom obviously spoke to me in Spanish early on since I was a little kid. And we go through the experience, and I do agree with Commissioner Anaya. We become the translation device, if you will, because our parents don't know how to navigate the system, the world that they entered. And so we become that navigation tool for them by calling, by making appointments, by translating what needs to be said, sometimes too private, but there's no other way to communicate. So, gracias. Quiero comunicarme directamente con la gente que represento. Ustedes saben la importancia del lenguaje, la importancia de representarlos en la manera que ustedes se comunican. Mi oficina, desde que yo los representé cuando empecé mi política, siempre ha sido accesible para ustedes en su lenguaje. Y quiero también hacer lo mismo para personas que no hablan español, pero que hablan, no sé, hablan hindi, hablan griego, hablan mandarin. Entonces, es importante de veras de comunicarnos en el idioma que la gente habla. Es importantísimo. Mi oficina está lista para ayudarles. Estoy en el 6º piso. Pueden comunicarse directamente con mi oficina privada. Ustedes saben que tengo mi oficina privada y ustedes tienen acceso a ella en caso de que no puedan leer una forma, de que no puedan comunicarse, de que alguien no les está ayudando como debe de ser. Pueden llamar a mi oficina, pueden buscarme en el sitio en línea, cookcountyborderreview.com, 773-523-8250. Apunten ese número, llamen cuando ustedes necesiten ayuda. Estamos aquí con todo el corazón para ayudarles. La gente que está aquí atrás de mí, igual estamos en equipo. Si una persona o necesitan ayuda del asesor, nos comunicamos con ellos, o un comisionado, el presidente, con quien sea y quien quieran ustedes comunicarse. Nosotros estamos en un equipo para poder ayudar a ustedes. Gracias.
Any questions? Yeah. Please. So today we're launching them primarily here in the county building. That also includes offices that are at 69 West Washington. We are working with the Sheriff's Office to expand these to other Cook County facilities, including our courthouses and Cook County Hospital. So the federal government, they made English the official language. They rescinded a lot of the requirements on local governments to provide language assistance, but it is still an option for local governments. It does not prohibit local governments from providing language access. And so here in Cook County, that does not change our commitment to providing language access. We're actually investing in, expanding in, doing things like I Speak cards, expanding our interpretation lines across Cook County government. That's within our authority, and it's something that's a core value to us here in Cook County.
Is it going to make any difference for home rule areas versus any others? I mean, are you going to have to marshal the forces and try and encourage other Cook County communities to keep up with the language?
So we have a whole set of strategies and best practices that we've been able to present. We just presented them to the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus a few weeks ago. Most local governments, they are not concerned about federal politics. They are in the business of serving their local constituents. And so many of our municipalities have been very excited about having these cards just because it helps their constituents. It also helps their employees, who oftentimes get somebody who, they can't even figure out what language they speak. So they send them back. They spend sometimes an hour, trying to serve somebody because they can't figure out what language they speak. They don't know how to help them. So this actually helps with better, more transparent and efficient government, period, regardless of your politics. It's just about serving those who live in our communities and keeping everybody safe.